Nerves are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Freemo.
Oh yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day of not going to Duncan, and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a Korn.
And now the group that can't count its nuts and come up with the same number twice.
Welcome to BGFG episode 444. I'm your host, Chris Phoenix, and joining me, as always, my brother from another mother, Mr. Freemo Z. How are you doing this week, sir?
I'm doing well.
Dude, it's doing well.
See, since we changed to doing the show on Sunday, and the week's barely gotten started, and you always ask me how's it going this week, I can, without lying, say it's going well.
That's true. I can tell you that it's been strange for me. And here's why. So the past couple of days, I've been feeling under the weather. Actually, most of last week, I felt a little under the weather. Just weird. Persistent cough, a little tingle in my throat. And I didn't think too much of it. And then the wife and I were sitting down and talking about it. And because she's in the medical field, she's like, you know, your body changes every 7 years or so. You know, roughly. Your body dynamics, internals type thing change.
It's called aging.
Shut up. And so it turns out that I had allergies. Like I got tested for allergies years ago, and it was like grass and dander, but it wasn't ever that bad. Well, apparently now it is extremely bad. I woke up 3 days ago, and I came downstairs, and my wife looks at me and she goes, "Are you all right?" And then one of the kids was in the kitchen. He's like, "Did you get punched in the face?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I go look in the mirror, and my entire face is swollen. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm just coughing, sneezing. I'm like, do I really have that bad of allergies? So the wife goes, "Hey, look, I got to run out to the store before. Let me get you some allergy medicine." So she talked to the pharmacist, I guess, and worked on that. And apparently, I have really, really bad allergies now. Like the allergies have kicked up to an 11. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. I'm like, this is awful. I can't cut the grass. Like I was doing grass work, lawn work. I cut half the grass and I did trimming. And that was the day before I woke up with a swollen face. I'm like, this is messed up. Because I wait till the afternoon to do it because it's too cold up here right now. And it's warmer in the afternoon. And I'm like, this is some bullshit, man. Now I got really bad allergies. I got to live that life now. That sucks. Then I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, maybe I'm not lactose intolerant anymore.
Yeah, because that's how allergies work.
Shut up. I just figured my body's going through changes and maybe some other things have changed as well. And I can enjoy, dairy products again.
One allergy in, one allergy out.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
For Star Wars, those that watch the Star Wars special, I procured blue milk. True released blue milk. It's got a vanilla flavor to it. I was all sort of excited. I bought it. Figured the kids and the wife and everything would like it, and they did. And I was like, if my body's changing, I should be able to drink milk now. So I poured myself a big old glass, drank that down. I'm like, this isn't too bad. It's got a vanilla flavor to it. It's a little bit thicker than normal vitamin D milk. Let me put it in my coffee this morning. That way I don't have to keep drinking the almond milk coffee. Let me put it in my coffee. I'll go back. Maybe I'll go to Dunkin' Donuts and start buying large iced coffees like I used to again. Yeah. No. Nope. No. I am still lactose intolerant.
So you single-handedly helped kill some ozone in the last couple of days, is what you're telling me.
Oh, I certainly did. I definitely did. There's 100% chance that bathroom doesn't like me. But we have a big show this week with a lot of really interesting information. And there'll be a point in the show where Freemo and I will do our little dance with each other verbally because he was right, and I'll have to admit that live during the show, which is not going to be good.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to
Ooh.
that portion. Not at all. Let's get into this week's news.
And
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
So first of all, in this week's news, really exciting news. Finally, we will reap the benefits of marijuana, literally, which is going to be epic.
potentially.
The current, well, I don't see how it's not going to happen. The current administration recently moved to reclassify marijuana as a lower risk substance. The Department of Justice recommended moving it to a Schedule 3 narcotic instead of the Schedule 1. Now, those that don't know, the Schedule 1 is like heroin, fentanyl, and they put marijuana in there. Cocaine, and they put marijuana in there. And for years, those of us that smoke marijuana were like, what? Are you kidding me? And not to mention the amount of people that are incarcerated because of marijuana offenses is astronomical. But being on Schedule 3, that puts you with prescription drugs like Tylenol with codeine, which again can be abused, of course. Not saying it can't be abused, but the fact that it's going to be a Schedule 3 changes a lot of things.
Yeah, it's going to open it up for a lot more testing, research.
Yeah, once it's published by the Federal Register, it'll initiate a formal rulemaking process. Now, this might take a couple of months, but the part is out there. Like Fremo was just saying, most of this stems from the FDA agreeing that there is a medical use for the drug, actually. And I'm here to tell you that that is 100% true. In my, I have cooling and heating CBD THC cream right in the bathroom cabinet that I use often. The wife smokes at the end of the day because of her lupus.
Maybe they'll figure out how to fix allergies. Sorry, I had to get that out there.
It's a shame you can't see what finger I'm holding up.
Unbelievable. Moving out of Schedule 1 could open more avenues for the research, like Fremo was saying. I mean, we can get really on board with a lot of these different things. And we've talked about it on the show so many times about the benefits that it has, whether from, literally anything. My favorite one is the Parkinson's cases, where people can't even feed themselves with Parkinson's. Yet you give them a little CBD, let it kick in, let it peak, let it plateau, and then they're able to grab a fork or a spoon and actually feed themselves. For people that have Parkinson's that haven't been able to do that, that is a game changer. Feeding yourself and doing your own things is a game changer, and that's what this is going to do. And not to mention the amount of pain-free things. We've talked about Big Pharma and how, people get addicted to pain meds. Well, now you might not have to do that. Smoking a little vape pen with pure CBD in it can take away a lot of your pain. I know it does, and you don't get high. You just literally go on with your day. It's really worthwhile. And it's also going to change several taxes that have been in effect for over 30 years. There's laws out there that are 30 years old for taxes that tax the shit out of marijuana right now. And it's going to be nice to see those kind of drop down. And this is very rare for the feds to switch stance on something that's been in effect for over 100 years and put so many people in jail. And it's going to be nice to see that we're actually going to change that. We're making changes in the U.S., which is always good. Unfortunately,
and
in Russia,
get in on the ground floor, because once Big Pharma takes over,
you're screwed. Yeah, we've said to get yourself a compassion center numerous times. If you can afford it, you go through the legalities of it. It's a cash cow, literally a cash cow. And the U.S. is making strides while Russia is still living in the 80s, Cold War era. Because I couldn't believe what I read on this one. I love how Fremo's already shaking his head. So there was 3 arrest warrants.
Putin.
Putin. There was 3 arrest warrants made. The first one was for former parliament member Gennady Gudkov. Then you had the environmental activists Yevgenia Shirokova. And then lastly, the former chess champion Gary Kasparov was also hit with an arrest warrant. I'm like, what? How can a chess champion be hit with an arrest warrant? They were all charged with setting up a terrorist society through the Free Russian Forum. Nothing says
You
80s
can't
Cold
talk
War.
bad about Papa Putin.
You can't talk bad at all in Russia. I mean,
Apparently.
they're on a forum and they get an arrest warrant. And you know that shit ain't going to go well. It's just going to disappear now. Once they get arrested, you're never going to hear from these people again, most likely.
Well, none of them are in country.
The Free Russian Forum was deemed undesirable, an undesirable organization within the country. And they were also charged with funding the terrorist organization and justifying it publicly on that forum.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be laughing because these people's lives are in jeopardy. But the sheer atrocity of setting this up like this is just, I don't even know what to say about it. Kasparov.
I love Kasparov's response. He said that in absentia is the best way he's ever been arrested.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget he was also picked up in 2012.
He was previously arrested and beaten pretty good.
No shit. So yeah, this is the best way he's ever been. He was also given citizenship in Croatia in 2014. Yeah. So again, this is going to be something that you're going to hear about for a little bit. Then you're not going to hear about it at all. And I feel bad, and we shouldn't be laughing because that's the way Russia is. But man, Russia, come on. This is 2024. Okay? You need to get Putin out of power. And you need to start moving ahead a little bit, or else you're going to be stuck and locked in the 80s, literally the 80s at this point. And it's messed up that Russia hasn't grown out of it. And at the same time,
I mean, this is what happens when you have a government that has no checks and balances.
None, because he put himself in power.
This is what happens when you have, I mean, they literally have no checks and balances, and Putin says it happens, like this right here. I mean, just because he was criticized openly in public by some people, they are now classified as terrorists.
Yeah. And being Star Wars weekend, remember when they said Palpatine stayed in power long after it was necessary? Putin's doing the exact same thing. You might as well call him Emperor Putin. Because if there is if there's anybody going against him for leadership, that person either disappears or gets arrested for something, or it just doesn't happen. And it's suddenly a landslide for Putin. So don't think for a moment that not only is that wrong, but that could be influencing other parts of the world. Hint, hint. So while...
Oh, well, obviously it is. I mean, he figures he can do what he wants with Ukraine, and now look at where we're at with that mess.
Right. And, while Russia stays in the 80s and doesn't seem to be progressing at all, at the same time, the U.S. is moving way too fast for everything. The U.S. government is now testing samples of ground beef. And you want to know why? From 9 different states where the bird flu has occurred in dairy cows. And this one caught me totally by surprise. The USDA did say that the meat was safe. But now, samples of pasteurized milk from around the country have tested positive for an inactive remnants of the H5N1 virus, the bird flu. Yeah. So now you have... So
this is the same flu. This is the same flu that decimated all the chicken farms last year when egg prices went through the roof. And the scary thing is the bird flu's been around for a while. Mm-hmm. The scary thing is it's now morphed to where it's infecting mammals, which is not something it has ever done in the past.
No.
And that's the scary thing.
And there's like 2 human cases, I believe, already.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying. And the thing that kind of makes me not chuckle, but the agency also plans to sample infected beef to study whether cooking the ground beef reduces the H5N1. Like, what was the process for this? When you looked at the cow and went, they're infected with bird flu. You know what? Let's just eat the ground beef. Yeah, right. How did you think that was okay? Like, it makes you question whether you should be eating any ground beef at this point or any beef. And that's not a good look. That's not a good look at all. And
Well, beef's already so outrageously priced. I mean,
and now you don't even know if you're going to get side infected.
you know, if you think beef is high now, wait till they do a massive recall or shut down a bunch of beef farmers because of the possibility of the bird flu. And, you're looking at $50, $60, $70 for one steak.
Yeah, that's not going to be a thing. There's no way. As much as I love meat, there's no way I'm going to spend that kind of money. No, not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's been a tough week when the FCC does more than the USDA for our well-being and welfare. The FCC just hit fines on AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. And we've said it on the show before. The show should be retitled, I Told You So. Because we've mentioned this numerous times. And those three big companies were fined $196 million combined. And for what, you might ask? Illegally selling your location data, which is an actual federal crime. It's a federal crime to do. Yeah. And they didn't think anything of it. And before you think, well, I got Consumer Cellular or Mint or Xfinity Mobile. Look, they all bounce off those three big networks. All of them.
Yep.
They're just subsidies of that. They're renting space on the line. That's all they're doing.
Yep. They're renting bandwidth. That's all.
So the last say is those three companies. And the FCC first began the investigation in 2019 after they were caught initially selling the real-time location information. Then the carriers put it on the third-party data aggregators because they said that they would get permission for all that data. So again, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon are all washing their hands of it, saying it's going to be the third parties. It's not our fault. It's the third parties. The third parties didn't ask for permission. They said they were going to. That's a scapegoat move.
And then who are the third parties selling it to?
No.
Oh, no. Third parties, the data aggregates?
Yeah.
Third-party data aggregates, they were making that information available to private investigators, bounty hunters, law enforcement, credit card companies. The list goes on and on.
Marketing conglomerates. Yeah. And the FCC even came out and said that the carriers continue, even after the fine, to sell access location information without taking measures to protect it. That's wrong. That is wrong, people. I don't understand why you're going to keep talking about this shit and not make any changes. We got fined $196 million. Well, apparently that's not a big enough fine because it didn't bother them at all. They're still doing it. At least round up your third parties and say, hey, look, here's a new contract I need you to sign that's going to state that not only are you not going to do it, but if you get caught doing it, it's your problem and you're going to pay the fine. But no, why would we do something like that? That would make sense. That would make sense and that would be okay. But whatever. Let's end the news segment on a little bit of a lighter note. So, self-described UFO expert Jamie Mousen. He's at it again. And if you don't know that name, that's okay because you shouldn't. But as people like myself, that's not conspiracy theorist, but an ancient alien person. And again, don't start writing in letters and emails and texts and shit like that telling me about how I'm crazy and how I think there's little green men. No, not at all.
No, you're not crazy for that. You're just crazy for being a flat earther.
Oh my God, I'm not a flat earther. We did land on the moon. I'm not a flat earther. I don't think there's little green men and lizard people running the country. That's not what it's about. It's ancient alien theorists are people that are looking at things like obelisks in Egypt that with copper tools shouldn't be that defined. Places like Pumapuku and Sacsayhuama, how did they make the stones like that? It's more of asking questions or anything. But then you get an asshat like this Jamie guy that comes out every once in a while and just throws everybody a curveball. Just when we're making headway, like, okay, we had a congressional hearing that proved that there is things in the sky. I'm not saying alien saucers. I'm saying there's things in the sky that we don't understand and don't know about. When you have Navy pilots that are top guns that are going, I don't know what the hell that is. That's a problem. These guys are defending our airspace. And when they don't know what something is and certainly can't counter it, chase it, or get away from it, that's a problem. But then you have this guy that had alleged alien corpses displayed in front of Mexican Congress. Now, this guy has been debunked before. In 2015, he revealed a body that he claimed was an alien. Well, that turned out to be a child. Unfortunate, but it was a child. In 2017, he again shown specimens, supposedly from Nazca, Peru. Those that don't know what Nazca is, you might hear about the Nazca lines. They're lines in the desert. Nobody's really sure. And then you have, I want to say petrographs, but pictures on the side of mountains.
Petroglyphs, yeah.
That can only be seen from the sky. And when they were originally put there was no planes or anything. So it's a big question mark. But
It's
in 2017,
not a big question mark. It's not a big question mark. Okay? Draw you a little stick figure.
Yep.
And then if this arm is a inch long,
Yeah.
and you go out in a flat field and you line up a bunch of stones that are 100 feet long,
Yeah.
and reproduce that scale for the rest of the figure, from down where you're at, it's not going to look like anything. But when you get up above, you'll see the stick figure.
I understand that, but why
Okay. They made them to honor the gods.
so the gods were looking.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
It's not that complicated. I don't know why people go on and on about the petroglyphs. I mean, it is simply... I mean, that was it. That period of time, they didn't understand the world. They didn't have the scientific advancements that we have.
Right.
The gods are up there.
Yep.
So we're going to make this to honor the gods. It's that, I mean,
right.
Why is this still an issue?
Well, because Douche Canoe here in 2017 showed specimens from Nazca that had 3 fingers on each hand and an elongated skull. Now,
okay, well, we already know where the elongated skulls come from.
Correct. Indigenous tribes have
they would
long
ban
done
the
that.
heads of the kids
100%. Yep.
Before the skulls were set to elongate them.
And why would they do that, Free?
Several cultures have done that.
And why? To imitate their gods.
Exactly.
Correct. He's even brought out dolls wrapped in paper mache. This time, though, under oath, he stated that these were, and I quote, non-human beings that are not part of our evolution. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. He's not lying.
They're not human beings.
And they're not part of our evolution, so he's not wrong. One of Mexico's top scientists said, these conclusions are not backed up by any evidence whatsoever.
Yeah.
Which was great. So, like I said, I just wanted to throw this story in there where we're usually keeping it for what it's worth with our NASA stuff and whatnot, but I couldn't resist because the other news was just so bummer. This was...
It's a news story.
But if you click on the link in the show notes, you will see clearly this picture that he has of these tiny aliens, and it's just not true in any way, shape, or form. It's just not. It literally looks like paper mache. Like, no joke. So, all right. So we're going to get into this week's music. And this week's music is a great song. It's been around for a while. I've always liked this song. But again, some are going to be great. Some aren't going to be good with this summer of covers. This one is a good one.
Speaking of, I'd like to help you out.
Oh, really?
With new. A not so obvious cover song.
Okay.
Because most people are going to know the cover song to them is the original because they don't have enough,
Yeah, that does happen.
Audio knowledge. But Knocking on Heaven's Door by Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Yep, that's on the list. Yeah. That's originally. You know, there's another one like that we'll end up doing this summer is Whiskey in the Jarro. Everybody relates that to Metallica. That's not a Metallica song.
No, it's not.
In fact, if you want to trace it back, it's actually a folk song. So
that is true.
All right. So
with that being said, any recording of that could be a cover song.
True. Yep. Absolutely.
We don't know who the originating artist is.
Mm-hmm. That's how old it is. So this week we're going to do a song by Korn called Word Up. And this was a 1986 song by Cameo. And I know, there's something about the Korn version I like a lot better than the Cameo.
Oh yeah.
It's just better. So we're going to take care of this, and we'll catch you on the other side.
They knocked the 80s cheese off of it before they recorded it.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it right there. They knocked the 80s cheese off of it. And we're going to come back for some unfortunate stick-style news. And I'm going to get roasted by Fremo. We'll catch you on the other side. Better than the original.
I don't disagree.
All right, so before we start off stick-style, we get our drink going. And I am still rocking the Modelo Especial because it's good stuff. And what do you got? Oh, a little Rolling Rock action. A little Rolling Rock here. Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers.
Oh, and I'll kick that with a little whiskey chaser.
So light and crisp and refreshing.
That's what I feel about the Modelo. Just so.
It is too.
It's not. It's been shitty weather. Like, it's been cold AF in the mornings here and then warm in the afternoons. So, needless to say, my knees have been hurting.
Yeah, I feel you. It was like 60 yesterday morning.
Oh, my gosh. All right, let's get into this week's stick style because I'm about to hear it.
And 80-something and
gaming.
buggy.
All right, let's get this stuff out of the way. PlayStation Plus games for the month of May. You have EA Sports FC, which is Football Club 24, because they lost the rights to FIFA. So EA will go ahead and ruin that game anytime soon. Tunic, which is a 16-bit Zelda-type game. And then you got Ghost Runner 2, which is more parkour cyberpunk-style game than anything else. And then, of course, you have Destiny 2 Lightfall expansion pack. They have one more expansion pack coming. I can't remember the name of it right now. One more left. Final Shape. But Lightfall is the one before that, and that one's going to be available to you on Plus. As for Game Pass games, which believe me, after this segment, you're going to like Game Pass a lot better. You got Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. That's would you call that the reboot or I don't even know how to call that.
Yeah.
It's just a newer one. It's great. It looks phenomenal. But that Definitive Edition, that's going to be free to you. Kona 2 Broom, which is a first-person narrative set in the 70s. And then you're going to have Little Kitty Big City, which is an open world. Try to get your cat home. Look, whatever. If that turns your key, man, have at it. You have Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which is a twin-stick adventure you can usually do right on your couch. You got to love those games. Those simple little games you can sit down with somebody on the couch that's not really a gamer and enjoy it. That's where that really comes in. And that's your Game Pass stuff. Now, there's going to be stuff on Game Pass that are released in the mid-month, later month. We'll bring that news to you when we see fit. But unfortunately, let's talk about some gaming hardware. I shouldn't say unfortunately, it just doesn't make any sense. Is this really even necessary, Free? You'll see a link in the show notes with the picture of it. It's called the SwiftPoint Z2 gaming mouse. And this was originally a Kickstarter. Now, I haven't mouse and keyboard gamed in quite a long time. I do it every once in a while because the game requires it, but mostly I just don't. It's not my cup of tea. I use a controller. And a basic mouse, you want a light mouse when you're gaming. You want it to be able to track very well. You don't want to use a smaller mouse pad because you're going to go past that threshold really quick. But I don't think this is needed. This mouse has got 13 customizable buttons, drag minimizing wings, a gyroscope, haptic feedback, mini OLED display, RGB, and it even can convert to a joystick by putting this little pedestal thing on the bottom of the mouse, and it will allow you to use your mouse as a joystick, which is I don't know why. Maybe a flight game or something like that. Maybe I just don't know.
I mean, I've been
Yes,
I don't know.
Your words are escaping you like they did mine.
I
Talked a couple of weeks back on the keyboard that I have from Corsair, which I think is the best keyboard on the market right now, period, end of story, in my opinion, and we've talked about it. But that was $159 for a keyboard. And I think it's definitely worthwhile. But a $200 mouse? Like, I don't understand why there are so many damn buttons on it.
I'd be screwed.
You're still.
I'm sitting here looking at where all the buttons and everything are. I'd be screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be unintentionally hitting buttons like constantly while moving the mouse.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry, I just dropped another grenade, guys. My bad.
We would have that problem enough. So and if you're that type that are used to wasting money on tech, then good news. Remember Razer?
I don't get it. I don't.
No,
as a joystick. I mean, I can't imagine. I'm looking at the little. It's a little attachment you put under the mouse,
right,
to elevate it off of your desktop, and then you just. But I can't imagine having enough movement based on what I'm looking at for it to be effective.
In any way, it's just it doesn't make sense. Kind of like when remember the Razer Zephyr? You remember that little nugget? So that was an RGB N95 mask that they were selling during the pandemic. Of course, got to get your money. It's RGB and it's from Razer. So a lot of the gamers were like, well, I'm going to get an N95 mask and this will be very cool and I'll be able to wear this out and all that shit. Well, now if you remember, it didn't sell a lot and it definitely catered to geeks. Well, it turns out that it wasn't an N95 compliant mask at all.
Go figure.
Not even a little. And once the complaints started rolling in,
that's what I'm talking about. Bacon delivered.
Oh, bacon delivered by. Oh, that's good stuff right there. I hate you. Once the complaints started rolling in, they pulled the N95 label from the advertisement, but the damage was already done. And the fact that you had to pull the labeling of it kind of tells you that lawsuits on its way. And the FTC,
no doubt,
the FTC made sure of that, and now Razer needs to cough up $1 million in refunds for all the N95 masks, which is great. I love seeing stuff like that. Like, you made a mistake, you lied to us, now you have to pay back.
$1 million. What was the retail on those things? Probably $20.
No, Razer was getting. Let's say for the sake of argument, let's say it was 100. It was a hundo. I'm just spitballing that one because they weren't cheap. I remember seeing them, but they weren't cheap.
Yeah, so they sold 10,000 units.
Not even a lot, but still, the fact that you're going to pay everybody back. That's worthwhile.
So there are 10,000 basements around the country that have these sitting on a display stand.
All right, let me have a swig. Let me have a swig of this whiskey because we're about to get into software news, and I'm about to get roasted. So I got to make sure that we're recording.
I'm still trying to figure out how.
Oh, my friend, you will see shortly.
One
of the games that we love. One of the games that we love here at Stick Style and at BGFG is Helldivers 2. We've had so much fun playing this, and it's really a game that listens. I've never seen a game. We've talked about it on the show before, so I'm repeating myself. I have yet to recall a game that was this locked in to their fan base. Like, they really listen to everything. They interact with the fan base on Discord and on Reddit. They do. So Helldivers has made a couple of mistakes. First, in the game, all those Termicide towers that we turned on last month, there was a big push. So everything in this game, if you haven't played, there's usually news, literally military news. And one of those things might be something like, hey, there's an overrun. We have to get the people off of this planet, go to this planet and get all the people, off the planet. Or there might be something like, hey, look, we lost connection to a lot of these computer terminals on this planet. Go to this planet and reactivate those terminals. Fremo and I have had loads of fun, met a bunch of people. It's just been a good experience. Well, last month we had to turn on these termicide towers that were supposed to kill all the bugs. Now, in the game lore, the bugs actually produce all the oil and gas and fuel that we use. So it's a really questionable as to what we're actually doing. So it actually did the exact opposite of what we wanted. Instead of getting rid of the bugs, their population has now exploded. Now we have to go in and deactivate the towers. Then go around and destroy all the mutated eggs. Sounds easy. It's not. You're given about 15 minutes or so to turn off 3 locations and then destroy all of the eggs, which may or may not be where those locations are. Usually they're in the center of the 3 locations. But you have to go and destroy them all. You get out of ammo quick. You're constantly being hit by more bugs. It is not easy. I've been running a few by myself on easy and getting off the planet with only like 2 to 1 minute remaining. Like I am struggling.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, it's tough. And I'm looking forward to playing with Fremo at some point to see if it changes. But man, it is not easy. But it's fun because it adds a faster pace and a lot of pressure to the match itself. Like I don't have time to just F around and be like, oh, let me go grab another beer, and just step away from the game for a hot minute because I'm not going to get killed. And if I do, I'll just jump back in. No, now it's like, let me get my alternate weapon down here. Let me get ready to resupply if I need to. Where are these targets? Let me go get these targets real quick and sprint everywhere. And because of the planet, your sprint doesn't last that long at all. It rather sucks. You're constantly waiting and walking to replenish your breathing so that you can run and sprint a little bit more. So it's interesting the way they did that, but I love, again, the way the story arcs and everything. And Fremo and I have talked about it at length about how much this game is really paying attention to their user base, listening to their user base, and throwing those curveballs every once in a while. We've had planets that we were told that we needed to extract within 24 hours, and we did it in 5. We've been told that there was certain things we had to do with automatons, the robots on the other side of the map. We did it in like 2 days and eradicated them, but then they came back. And you get these little curveballs thrown at you every so often in Helldivers.
Yeah.
And I might want to add that if you're on your ship, if you're playing the game and you're on your ship and you're waiting for your other friends to join, look up at the main lobby and there's a giant screen and it's usually giving propaganda news videos, which are hilarious. Like we said before, this is Starship Troopers on steroids. And it's so funny with the propaganda. Okay, here we go. There's one other problem with Helldivers. And I'm about ready to let Fremo just tear into me.
I still don't know where you're going with this.
Okay, good. So this might take the game to go from a number 1 game right now with the story of the biggest downfall in gaming history, without a doubt. If you remember, the game is hugely popular. And when they launched, they had a shit ton of server issues. Apparently everyone, and we saw it all when we started up the game, apparently everyone was supposed to create a PlayStation Network account to tie them in because it's only available on PlayStation and Steam. And your PlayStation account, like a lot of us just went, nah, I'm not doing that. I'll keep them both separate. And I have. Like I got the expanded like early release for the PlayStation version. I got extra stuff and that's great. That's wonderful. But I played mostly on the Steam account with all my friends from Xbox and such. Not that Xbox is connected, just that there were people that also had a Steam account. And we all saw it and we all ignored it. And we're playing on Steam. Don't need a PlayStation account. Don't care. Well, in a recent statement by Sony, players will have to create a link to the PlayStation Network account by May 6th. Let me just let Fremo chew on that for a second.
That's been changed. It's actually June 4th now.
No, hold on. They said Due to technical issues at the launch of Helldivers 2, this is a quote, we allowed the linking requirements for Steam accounts to the PlayStation Network account to be temporarily optional. That grace period has now expired. End quote. I'm like, wow, really? The bottom's going to fall out on June 4th when you just won't be able to play the game unless you create a PlayStation account. Now, I have a PlayStation account, and I'm even debating whether I want to link the two to continue to play. Because if I'm not going to play with all my friends, Fremo, Fatal, all these people that we play with from our Xbox clan for lack of a better term, Xbox friends, then there's no point in me playing this game any longer. I mean, I'll play it once in a while on PlayStation, but that's really it. There's no reason. My Steam account is way ahead of my PlayStation account. My Steam account's at like level, I don't know, level 60? I don't even remember what my Steam account is at. My PlayStation account is at like level 7. Like, it's going to be a lot of work to get where I'm at. And you're going to play it, even though you're going to ignore the annoying reminder that you're going to get all month long. And in the past few days since this announcement, there have been over 89,000 negative reviews added to their Steam page in just a couple of days. Arrowhead has come out and stated that they are in talks with Sony about this, and they're going to see what they could do about it. But we know how Sony is about their shit and how they're going to handle this. They're going to say, too bad, so sad, we lost out on Starfield. So we're going to make Helldivers exclusive, more or less. I can tell you that somebody like Fremo is never going to make a PlayStation account to play this game. So essentially, if you want to play with me and Fremo on Helldivers 2, your best bet is to get on there, jump in, send us a friend request, and play till the end of the month. Because after that, Fremo ain't playing no more. Fatal's probably not going to play no more. And I might not play anymore. I can't speak for the other guys because I don't know if they have a PlayStation. But I know Fremo and Fatal are definitely not going to create a PlayStation account to play this game. They're just not.
All right, so anyone who wants to keep playing with me after the end of the month, just DM me and I'll give you my PlayStation Network name.
You're lying out your ass. You are absolutely lying.
Bullshit.
You don't have to have a PlayStation to have a PlayStation Network.
No, but you're going to give PlayStation your information, knowing how many times they've been compromised, knowing what they do with their third parties. Really?
You've got an account with them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For years. I don't. Okay.
April Fools. I've been holding on to that one. Yeah, I'm not getting a PlayStation Network account. Are you kidding me?
You had me for a second. I honestly thought, I'm like, holy shit, he might. Like, the game's that good. But
it really is that good.
But Fremo really hates Sony.
It is really that good that I would sit down and listen to someone trying to convince me, but at the end of the day, no, it's Sony. I'm not doing it. It's really unfortunate because this was going to be my pick for Game of the Year for 2024.
Yeah.
But I can no longer go with that.
Well, folks, those that are listening, I will attempt to convince him within the next 30 days that he needs to create just a PlayStation account with a bogus email address, but it's highly unlikely that he's going to budge. So, in better news and a far better transition, you're going to need a new go-to game after this fiasco. It breaks my friggin' heart. But just in time, we've talked about Starfield before. Remo's consistently played Starfield. I have dropped off a little bit. I've been gearing more toward some racing games on the PlayStation as well as Helldivers. But Starfield's about to drop a massive update. And I popped in a couple of days ago, and I played it a couple of times in the past week just to get my feet wet again in Starfield. And I literally forgot how good it is. I also forgot how frustrating it can be. Fremo doesn't have this problem that I have because Fremo has got 900 rounds of ammo for any weapon. He's got his favorite weapons.
900?
Yeah.
No, I have the 999 plus symbol.
Okay.
I have over 10,000 rounds for my preferred weapons.
I am on a mission right now that I don't have enough rounds. My weapons absolutely suck.
And I will quit playing Starfield as soon as ammo becomes a factor in weight, the amount of weight that you can carry.
Okay. Good news. It won't. Because just in time, they're going to drop a huge update. Now, the Shattered Space expansion is coming in the fall. So, Free, I don't know if you want to keep going the way you're going or do your Game Plus and get that going again before the fall update. Entirely up to you. I don't know if that's going to be impactful at all for the Shattered Space. It's supposed to do the, was it Faroon? The ones we never see or hardly ever see anything about. It's supposed to have to do with that faction.
I see them all the time.
I do not.
I've probably blown up 100 Varun ships, if not more.
Well, they're supposed to have a factor in the Shattered Space expansion. But that's cool. That's coming in fall. But before that, there'll be plenty of updates. One is a shipbuilding update. You're going to have easier to build, and you can see comparisons of different parts, which is something that we've bitched about for forever, because you can't compare parts. And more importantly, Todd Howard has confirmed that the creation kit is ready and in the hands of beta testers. Now, the creation kit is the kit that they have, or the download that you're going to get, that's going to allow you to put legal mods into your Starfield. So again, as we've seen throughout the years, if you do a mod that's even allowed in a game, that can stop you from getting trophies, achievements, or anything like that. But at the same time, it's going to add huge value to the game, whether it be that you can change your character's look to something from Mass Effect, maybe Star Wars, to the fact that you're going to have, you're going to be able to adjust the amount that you can carry. There's going to be mods for just about anything. So it's going to be interesting to see when they release the creation kit as to how it affects somebody like me that has gone through multiple Game Plus modes and has barely anything, to somebody like Freemo that's got literally everything, or everything he wants, and has maxed out a lot of these things, including parts of the story. So it's going to be really interesting to see all those things, and I'm looking forward to it, because we're going to need an alternative, because none of us are going to be playing Helldivers. I don't feel. I mean, I might pop it on when I give PlayStation some love at the beginning of the week, but that's about it. I won't take it even remotely as seriously anymore. There's no reason to, because none of my friends are going to play it.
They may. I don't know. There's a possibility. There'll be enough pushback that it stays the way it is. But
I think that if Helldivers 2, if Arrowhead takes a stand and says, you know what, screw you, Sony, we're going to take the legal battle route, because we don't want it to be forced linked. It's a great idea, but we don't want it to be forced linked. I think they may be able to do that with the amount of people that they have on Steam to make it justified.
Yeah.
But that's really, really a tight margin, because Sony,
if Steam will back Arrowhead, then they have a chance of pulling it off, because I guarantee you, if you look at the numbers, safely more than 50% of the people on Steam playing Helldivers don't have.
Oh, easily. I would say more than 50.
I mean, I think it's a lot higher than that. I
agree.
I'm just not going to put the number out there that I think, but safely 50% of the people playing this game won't be playing it come June 4th.
Right.
And that's going to have an impact.
I don't disagree with you. I don't. I just don't know where I don't know what I'm going to do yet, because I'm curious as a presenter on the show.
Ship.
No, but seriously, as a presenter on this show and on
No,
Stick
the game,
Style,
jump ship.
I get it. But as the host of both of these shows, it's difficult for me not to do it, because to see what the impact is and see how it transfers. Will the stuff that I have from early release come over from PlayStation onto Steam? Will my Steam level float over to PlayStation. Like, I don't know how that's going to work. There's no real definitive answer onto any of that. Because like Fremo said, well, that's what I'm saying. From like Fremo said, we don't know because most of the people on Steam are not linking their account. And the ones that do link their account are surely not going to talk about it. You know, they're the quiet minority, for lack of a better term. So as a person that does these two podcasts, yeah, I kind of want to do it. As a person that's sitting back and just a gamer, like if I was upstairs at the 6-style machine, yeah, I have no intention of doing that. Like, I don't want any of that noise. I don't want anything floating over. They're known to have rootkits. They're known to have third-party injections. They're known to lose your data. They're known to block shit. Like, Sony is not, they make a great machine. That's usually where it ends. They keep screwing the pooch on everything else. So it's tough for me to decide which way I want to go. But with all of this talking about it today, there's a very good possibility that I want to get a little bit more whiskey in me, another beer, and I would end up linking these freaking accounts just to see what happens.
Yeah, do it. Join the dark side.
See, you just want to see the burn. You want to see me text you and get so. You want to see me text you and get so unbelievably pissed off about this because something went sideways, like I locked out both of my accounts or something.
Yep. I've already hired the Skyrider.
Let's get into this week's stick stuff for what it's worth and see what's going on.
When you look up in the sky and you see the guy up there, it just says "told you," you'll know who it's from.
All right. So first up in this week's tech news, we need to slow down. We said it early in the show. We need to slow down a little bit with this AI shit. Okay. Last week was the first autonomous racing league race. Autonomous racing. And you know what? Watched a couple of clips of it. Boring AF.
The only way that this is even remotely fun is if they turn off all of the crash damage control components of the software. And they just program them to run balls to the wall wide open. Because that's what we do as people, and that's why we watch it.
Right. It was boring. I watched some of it, even kind of predictable. Like, they're not going to take chances. That it's a computer algorithm, and people this is one of those moments where I wish I had Fatal on the show.
It was hilarious that when the one car broke down, and the rest of them just all lined up behind it. Like, what's this guy doing? I don't know, but I think this is where we're supposed to be. What's this for? I don't know.
So one of the cars spun out, and because of the smoke that it generated, the first car that was behind it stopped because it couldn't predict what was going on past the smoke. So all the other cars stopped in line behind it. It was the worst thing and the best thing ever. Like, it made me tear up because even the commentators
knows. Anybody that's seen Days of Thunder knows you drive at the smoke. Because by the time you get there, the thing producing the smoke has slid out of the way.
Right. But that's what happened with the smoke issue. It's like the commentator said, trying to justify it. They're like, that's what the cars are programmed to do. The problem I found with this wasn't like the technology is like, wow, this is an autonomous vehicle racing. Like, wow, can't believe we got here. But they're not taking chances. There's chances in racing, like when you go take the high side, that you have to try to control your car and get that shit to work. And you're taking a chance.
Which
you're
you should
taking
only
a
do
lot.
Specially matched tires.
Staggered special.
Yeah.
Or you take that chance where that guy might not shift properly and you're going to take the inside and come out of the turn. So there's a human variable in there that we have.
And until they can program Rubbin's racing into these cars.
Program that. But it's just the intuitiveness and luck and skill that's not even a factor anymore, and that's sad because there's been racers out there in all genres that have taken. You got people like Dale Earnhardt in NASCAR that rubbing racing's like law, but he would bump you to make you stagger a little bit to get around you. That's not going to happen with a computer car unless it's programmed to do so, and it's just not going to be programmed to do so.
Or Schumacher. Look at Schumacher. Some of the, you look at some of the things he's executed, and the physics behind it don't seem possible.
Right.
Some of the snap passes that he's done and whatnot. Yep. I mean, it's just you can't program that. That's all. No. That's all intuition. That is looking at what's there and deciding. Yeah, I'm going for it.
Right.
It doesn't make sense, but I'm going for it.
And you can't get that in the there's certain times when you're watching a race on TV, say it's Watkins Glen or something, coming up that hill that S curve is not that dramatic, and you're gonna have some guys going straight, and you're gonna have some guys that are gonna make that pass there. And it's really exciting because if they can make that pass, if they have that power, the other person has to back down. A computer doesn't think like that. They don't. So there's going to be possibilities for bigger crashes, but nothing's at stake at that point. Oh, the car crash. That's a fucking shame. They're going to have to invest another $1 billion. When you have a person sitting in that cockpit and that crash might happen, now you start to worry and you're concerned.
Yeah.
You're like, man, is he going to back out? Is he going to back out? Or is he going to go for it? Does he have balls as big as his tires? Or is what the fuck are we looking at? That doesn't happen with autonomous. I watched it. Go to YouTube and watch it. It's unbelievably boring.
And there's also, and this is, there's that, I think it's fatal, that says if your tires aren't squealing a little bit, you didn't go fast enough around the turn.
Yeah. Yep.
You can't program that into a car.
Right.
That feel of when is it about to break loose. All you can do is give the car data, give it sensors. Right. And it's going to back off every time because there's that invisible fine line between total control and total chaos. Right. And it's those moments where you dip across that line into total chaos and you're able to bring it back to total control. But that split millisecond, and that's something you're not going to ever be able to program. You're not going to be able to.
No, it's instinct. You can't. I have no way to segue into this next stupid-ass story. But again, it's another option for free mode to make fun of me completely. And that is Apple has just announced a huge overhaul of one of their oldest apps. You might be thinking iTunes is going to come back to look like Music Match. Or Photos will be more user-friendly like it used to be. Or maybe they're creating iWeb like they used to make websites and things like that a little bit easier for people. No, not going to do that. No, what they're going to do is they're going to update the calculator app. Yep. Apparently that wasn't good enough. It needed to add notes, calculation history, currency converting, because there's no other app on the desktop for Apple that could possibly do any of that. What? You have your hands up?
Who's using the app on their MacBook?
I don't know. Because as a Apple fan that has used Apple literally for 20 years, 30 years, on my phone, I've pulled up the calculator app to do a quick conversion or something like that. But never, not once on my Mac computer have I pulled up the calculator app, ever. There's just no need.
I'm just wondering. I mean, is there something on the Apple side that I'm not aware of? Like it's used in a certain way that like there's like I don't know. I'm trying to understand this.
No, you're not. You're trying to find a way to poke me.
No, okay. So like traditionally, back in the day, people would say, well, if you're going to be doing graphic design, you need to be on an Apple.
Correct. I was
like 20 years ago. That was the thing. If you're doing any kind of graphic design work, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's what I'm saying is there some application that I'm unaware of
now I get
of Apple users that necessitates this? Like, I mean, am I not aware that like Apple is like the go-to for astrophysicists or something, that they need a more robust calculator app?
It is. So a lot of NASA, Starlink, there's a lot of places that use this. Do I think this is necessary and newsworthy? No, not even fucking a little.
Okay.
Like, you failed so hard with your VR that you're going to come out and say that this is a fucking game changer? A calculator. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. And I'm losing faith in Apple as we go.
Genre-defining calculator app.
I'm losing faith in Apple's their desktop operating system quicker and quicker every year. Like, their iOS, their phone system is just fucking second to none. As long as they stop convoluting things. There's already like 3 or 4 places. For instance, the other day, the wife and I tried to get the precision finder working, which you're supposed to be able to use with the Apple, the little discs. I can't remember the name of them, to find like your keys. And also if you're at like a mall or something. Yeah, the AirTags. They just released a commercial with a bunch of Mandalorian Star Wars cosplayers that they went to a convention center and they said, "Where are you at?" And the guy said the location and he clicked on it and it gave an arrow, a green screen with an arrow as to where to go to find them.
Right.
Super helpful if you have kids or anything else, or you're in a convention center or anything like that. I spent about half an hour trying to get that shit to work. And I could not get it to work properly. I couldn't. It could be because I'm in the same house, but if I'm outside in the lawn and the wife is on the second floor on the opposite side of the house, that should direct me to that. And it didn't. And it sucked. So the fact that that's becoming more convoluted, I'm starting to lose faith in the iOS. But as for the Mac OS, the desktop, there is no reason to do some of the shit that you're doing. None. And the grin that Freemo's giving on the simple fact that I've already condemned Sony for what they're doing, and the fact that I'm starting to truly believe that the Windows OS is a much more robust. They still have things to do. They still have things they need to change. But it's become a more user-friendly OS than Apple has. And that's really pissing me off, like to no end. I think Apple TV is phenomenal. I think the iOS, if they stop screwing with it, the Apple phone operating system is similar to that older actress you saw that just got her fucking face all added with Botox and shit. You don't even recognize her anymore. Like Madonna, who looks like a fucking tchotchke doll at this point. I don't like the way
on
that's
a lighter
going.
note, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, that's going to cause me to drink today, 100%. Because 2 companies that I've had a lot of faith in for several years have left me no choice to where I can't even form an argument. When I can't, after doing this for 30 years,
this is just
20
beautiful.
years as a podcast.
This is just beautiful.
I know,
guys.
I know.
Y'all
So
don't
let me finish.
understand. I've been telling Phoenix for so long. And to see my baby growing up, it's just, I'm so proud.
I've been doing technology for 30 years, like Freemo. Him and I have been doing this podcast for over 20 years, okay? I have always defended Sony. As much as they've screwed up, they do have a better hardware system on that PlayStation 5. That goes without saying. I've also defended Apple at every turn. Even Freemo has agreed that the iOS for the phones is pretty damn solid. Yeah. But the Mac operating system is leaving a lot to be desired, but better for graphics and scientific things. But you guys, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, you're making iOS like a Microsoft product where I have 16 different ways to change something instead of one. Me trying to do the Find My, the shorter Find My, that's a problem. The fact that you're releasing a calculator app as a big deal is a problem. Okay, you've changed the operating system so much that it's difficult for me to find shit that I need for customers. That's a problem. And Sony, you're just, I don't know what the fuck you're doing anymore with your PlayStation product. I can't defend you if I don't even have an inkling or can justify the moves that you're making. Like, you're forcing people to take a number 1 game right now and get onto your PlayStation Network. And I get it, you want the numbers. But it's number 1, and forcing somebody to do that. Give them some sort of, put a carrot up there. Put a carrot. Like if you sign up and you synchronize, you're going to get, I don't know, a bunch of points or game currency or exclusive cosmetics.
We'll drop our DSRM lawsuit against you.
Anything, but you're not. You're not doing any of these things. And you're making Microsoft just sit back and smile and just wait. And you're making Xbox even better and more popular than it is. And you're making it easier for companies like
Who do you think Arrowhead's gonna who do you think Arrowhead's gonna release Helldivers 3 with?
Oh, definitely not Sony. If they can break that contract and get out of it, they'll absolutely Xbox. Why wouldn't you at this point? And let me leave you with this week. Just a little bit of I told you so. Well, me and Freemo, I told you so's.
Before we get into that, I just want everybody to know that I'm going to be starting a GoFundMe.
Oh, God. Why?
For this next story. I want one. Oh, my gosh, do I want one.
So, Ohio pyromaniacs throw flame have now decided that the future of fire delivery has arrived. If you click on the link in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, you will see clearly that what we said has come true. Boston Dynamics and their dog Spot. We said it before, somebody's going to strap a gun to it, and it happened. And then the lawsuits came, and Boston Dynamics said, look, the thing that you signed when you bought one of these from us was that you would not weaponize it. I don't know where that shit went. I don't know if it like went out of date or what happened, but oh no. Oh, you're still there. Good. I don't know what the just happened.
I don't know.
That was weird. Anyway, not only did Boston Dynamics say this, but I don't even know if like the statute of limitations is ended because they took Spot and they strapped a hefty flamethrower to it. And in true, I don't give a shit fashion, they called it Terminator.
The first ever flamethrower wielding robotic dog.
It's insane.
And
it's gonna
they're not breaking the rules with Boston Dynamics.
I don't believe that for a second.
Because flamethrowers are not regulated.
Oh, come on. That's the loophole?
That's the loophole.
That's a great loophole.
Flamethrowers are federally unregulated.
Oh my gosh. So this thing has a 1 hour battery life. It has a 30-foot flame range. Don't worry, Free. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth as well. It's remote operated with your smartphone, because that seems safe. How many people do you and I both know, just off the cuff, how many people you and I both know that have an Android phone that's completely infected?
Yeah.
It's hard to do on an Apple, but yeah, you get an Android. I can't. LiDAR obstacle avoidance, laser sighting. It handles wire. I couldn't even believe when they listed this. It handles wildfire control, agricultural management, snow and ice removal, which alone, as somebody from the Northeast, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that because I would love nothing more than to turn this robot on in the morning and have it take out my entire driveway. It might take out my car as well, but my entire driveway, some of the grass and trees nearby. And they also added, and I shit you not, lighting the barbecue.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm starting to GoFundMe because I need one of these.
And that's the thing is that you would expect this to be only issued to like military contractors or the military, or that's where they're selling it to, like they did with that original Spot that had the machine gun on top of it. Like that was at a gun show, and it was not for public use. It was for military and contractors. So I can see the point in that. But this motherfucker's available to the general public for $9,420. The fact that they added the $420 to the end of it shows you that they were thinking way ahead of this. And all I can say to that, Free, God bless America.
America.
I just can't. Oh my gosh. What a show. Oh,
Yeah.
my eyes are watering from the stupid shit that we had to actually talk about. Oh, that's insane. So do you have anything else this week?
I need one. I need one. So if you're, birthday's coming up next month, if you're thinking of anything you might want to get me,
that might be
kind of a large purchase. I get it, but if you want to make it my Christmas and birthday, kind of combined,
a combo gift. Nice. Do you have anything else this week?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some gaming, and most likely because I've been drinking a little bit, and I'll probably be smoking in a little bit. I'm most likely going to link my account just to see what happens.
Yeah,
and record it.
Find out.
And,
I want to know.
and the fact
I'd love
that
to
you
be
want
there
to
for
know,
the event, but
the fact that you want to know is even worse because now I'm like, oh, I got this. It's just not.
I don't think
you'll
do it. I don't think you got the balls. Just saying.
No, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
at this
I'll
point.
believe
You
it
don't
when
have
I
to
see
say
it.
that. Shut your pie hole. I'll record it. I know you have some other obligations, so maybe we'll get together and game a little bit later today.
I want to do some Helldivers before I can't.
That's true. So I'll be on Helldivers. I can't believe I'm going to do it. I'm going to synchronize the accounts. So there's a very good possibility that I'll be playing with Freemo if you jump on and play with us. I'm Chris Phoenix, and he is Freemo Z. And if you jump in and you get to play with us, I might be like a level 2. There's possibility.
No shame in that. There's no shame
break
in
the
that.
whole
Everybody
thing.
has to start somewhere.
There is a little bit of shame in that. Kind of like the fact that I'm Starborn 8+, and I'm at a level right now where I can't finish it because I don't have enough ammo and my guns are not strong enough. I'm shooting robots and they're not doing diddly squat.
This is where I wish Starfield was like, so I could come in and handle it for you.
Multiplayer. Oh yeah.
Because I don't care what it is, I can handle it.
I would love to see
even if I got to
like
burn
that.
through. Even if I got to burn like 20 or 30 med packs, because that's only like 10% of my supply.
Jeez. I would love to see, I have 6. People's got hundreds, I have 6. I'd love to see multiplayer in a mod on Starfield, but I don't think that's going to happen because the game I don't think can handle it. So that's it for this week. Unless Freemo has something else.
No, that's it. I'm done.
All right, that's it for this week. 10 down, show's over.
So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.